Welcome to Mind Myself, Dr. Neelima Deshpande. We are so thrilled to have you as part of our Mind Myself practitioner team.
Thank you so much, Esther. I'm delighted to be here. I'm delighted to be part of this really, really important work that you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, that's fantastic. So let's start off by telling people a little bit about your credentials and how you came to this work that you do in this world, this important work, and why you chose to do it.
I qualified in India, so my medical qualification, and I graduated from obstetrics and gynecology from an institute in Pune, which was also my mother's alma mater. And it was a real privilege to go to that college because it's one of the oldest colleges, medical colleges in India. And I got really, really good training because it's, your basic training is really foundational. And from there, I've kind of just built on my experience of obstetrics and gynecology, trained in the UK, I've worked in Bhutan, and I've kind of built up for myself a reservoir of experience in menopause, sexual health, contraception, sexual medicine, psychosexual therapy. And it kind of helped me because I was transitioning through my own menopause journey while I was studying all this, and as a consequence of recovering from spinal surgery, being in a lot of pain and agony and depression, I kind of used everything I studied as a resource to heal myself. And that is why I have that list of credentials. I've built on what I've studied to help myself and kind of tried and tested everything on myself. And that's kind of the lived experience of my credentials, is what I bring to everything I do and what I'm passionate about, and about helping people, because I've come on the other side, the watershed line of being a sufferer, a fellow sufferer on the line, as being a doctor, being on the receiving end of medical care, to then being somebody who's transitioned and empowered herself, then now being ready to give what is a lived experience to people I work with.
Oh, that's wonderful. I look forward to hearing more of your story as we, excuse me, as we get to know each other too. So can you tell us, in addition to what you've just said, what are your specific focuses that you most like to work with now at this stage in your life?
It's got to be women's health, particularly, and women who are facing aging. We know that over 1 billion women on the planet are going to transition through menopause in the coming 5 years. And statistically, looking at these women, they're going to be facing very serious health challenges. Death and disability from heart disease, osteoporosis, Alzheimer's disease, dementia, diabetes, hypertension, the plague of lifestyle diseases that is happening not just in India, but across the globe. And it's heartbreaking because I came across a time in my life, very recently, where I lost 5, 6 friends very quickly in short succession to either one of these illnesses. And it brought home to me why I need to work in this area, why it is absolutely essential that women are empowered to seek the care they need, because it saves lives. So it's about, it's a topic called menopause, but menopause is just a word. It's actually the life. That woman who is the center of the family, whose very existence binds the family, not just in this lifetime, but for 7 generations to come. So the impact, the domino effect of saving that one life, that preserving that life in the best possible way possible, empowering that person to live an amazing quality life, to be able to give of themselves so beautifully, that is the focus. So then it brings health, nutrition, movement, sexual health, the ability to empower themselves as they transition through this really, really important phase in their life. So a lot of my training and the work I do is around this empowerment of this generation of women. And I'm also part of that generation. So
that's wonderful. We need more people in the world and more women in the world dealing with this and being passionate about it and helping other women. That's amazing.
The men in the lives of these women want this. If that man truly loves you, he wants this for you. He wants to be with an empowered, amazing, creative woman who's willing to dance the dance of life with him. So, and empowerment in exchange. So the men also want that. It's not that I'm excluding men, because empowering and educating the men in the lives of these women only contributes to their well-being.
Yes, of course. And so I have a feeling I know the answer to this question already, but I would like to hear it from your lips. How do your friends and colleagues describe you, Neelima?
Now,
Yeah.
as a much happier version of who I used to be, joyous, a bit more purposeful, engaged, compassionate, and they tell me I found my smile again, which is a really, really sweet compliment, because I had gone through a phase in life where I'd forgotten how to smile.
Oh, and what a beautiful smile you have. I'm so happy that you can share it with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And if somebody is going to work with you, what would a first session typically be like?
Once I've got like a session like this set up with them, then I talk to them a little bit about confidentiality. I talk to them about feeling safe and secure in that information, because a lot of work I do is very sensitive, and it's about sex and intimacy, and it's about really deep feelings that come up, about conflicts in relationships, about stuff that they may not even be able to talk to their own doctors about, or maybe they discuss with their friends, but they don't know where to go. And then there's a process of some medical history taking, so really go deep into their family history, their personal history, maybe a little bit about their sexual history, the kind of partners they might be having, a bit more genitourinary focus. So because I deal with women with sexually transmitted infections because of risky sexual behavior, so that kind of history taking comes into play. And then a little bit about the relationship, and more than about their nutritional status, their fitness, the whole of their body. So how do they engage with their health on a daily basis? And that often then leads into an emphasis on which aspect of their health they want to focus on with me. So whether it's the gynecological part, whether it's the reproductive part, contraception, sexual medicine, couple interactions, whether they're dealing with anxiety, pressure, etc., relating to their sexual health, or it's just menopause they want to focus on. And depending on that, then we draw up a plan for how to move forward. If it's an in-person consultation, then I have then, of course, the part of having an examination, which I definitely like to do first interaction. So I've got a baseline health record. If they've had that done somewhere, then I usually get to look at it. If they have reports or tests or investigations that they have, and I have a look at those and discuss them with them as well, so that I get a good idea of what they're actually looking to achieve from that first consultation.
Right, and you're located, if I understand correctly, you travel between India and the UK and sometimes Canada. Is that right?
Yes, sometimes. It's this year.
This year anyway. So, but certainly the UK and India. So you work with people from all over the world.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Excellent. And Neelima, what do you do in your life to stay healthy? What are some of the things that you personally do?
For me, my life completely transformed with a program called WildFit. And I'm so deeply indebted to Eric and Meads for having that program, because as a doctor, I was really resistant. Now, what is this person going to teach me about nutrition? I've been studying nutrition since I was 13. I've been on like so many diets. But I was at a point in my life where I was filled with despair and pain and agony. And WildFit completely transformed my life. And I've maintained that. So living the WildFit life, nutrition, really, really nourishing my body has transformed how I think as well. So living in this healthy body is responsible for largely how creative I've been, how productive I've been, how much better I engage, how much improved my relationships are. Pretty much my life. I owe him my life. And then the second thing I do is Indian martial arts. So last year, I discovered an ancient form of Indian martial art, which is called Mai Param. And the progressive version of that is called Karlakatai. I'd always been thinking about menopause, and times I need to build strength, need to build muscle, coordination, balance. And I talk to my students about yoga, I talk to them about dance, I talk to them about, martial arts and physical activity. When I found my Padam and Karlakatai, it was like the one-stop answer. And I knew in that second that this is what I want to do for life. So I said, the way to do it is to be accountable, is to teach it. So I've become an international coach in my Padam and Karlakatai. So I do that every day. And Karlakatai is an ancient Indian club, which right now I'm working with 2.5, 3 kilogram clubs. So you build muscle with repetition. So it's a bilateral movement. So it's a right. So as an EMDR practitioner, I also recognize the psychological power of repetitive bilateral movements. The flexibility, fascial releases, dynamic stretching. There's so much stuff in it that I've been studying for so many years, and it's like all combined in one package. So while fit, my Padam Karlakatai, and of course, all of the different psychological techniques I use to get out of a funk if I'm in one. So these 3 things keep me like super fit.
That's awesome. Now you've made me want to try that. Whatever that martial art is, you'll have to spell it out because I didn't quite get what that is, but I totally want to try that sometime.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And what's something you've already mentioned this too, but what's something that you're most grateful for in your life right now?
I'm grateful for a lot of things, and I'm probably at a stage in life where I take, waking up just feeling grateful, has become a part of my life. It didn't used to be this way. I really struggled to think of things to be grateful for. I'm really grateful for having the time I have with my parents. My mom is 86, my dad is 89, he has dementia. And I think I've had the longest childhood, and it's really precious to be able to have my parents for that long. And partly I thank my illness because I was so sick. Following spinal surgery, I got to spend a lot of time with my parents and get to know them again, and I got to love them again. Of course, Wildfit is amazing, and my teachers in my Padam and Karlakatai. I owe my life. Everything I am today, my ability to think and stay, and whatever I do, I owe to my parents, to Eric, and my teachers in my Padam and Karlakatai.
That's awesome. And I know we touched on this before as well. What kind of patients, what kind of people do you most like to work with? What are the characteristics, qualities of the people you most would want to draw to you?
One, because the doctor in me wants to help everybody. Want to help, I want to reach out and so get those 1 billion women and say, you don't have to go through this. You can save yourself. You don't have to die early. You don't have to suffer. But I know that everybody's not ready for that. And I think the kind of person I most like to work with is maybe somebody just like myself who's looking for answers and who knows that there's a better way out and that they don't have to suffer, and they're willing, they're curious, and they're interested and willing to invest in themselves so that, they become the best version of themselves, and they give up the best version of themselves to their family, to their children, to their partners, to their parents. And that's the kind of person I love to work with. That curiosity, that ability to reflect within themselves and find what works best.
Well, that's a wonderful thing for someone to aspire to, and I hope you draw many, many more of those kind of people to you. And as we come to a close in this interview, what's one thing you'd like to leave your listeners with today?
I thought quite a lot about this, and I think the most important thing is what transformed me is what I would like to inspire people with, is that if they're willing to just sort out just their basic nutrition in their bodies, move their bodies, and focusing on changing their mindset around what nutrition is for their body, they will see their lives transform. When your body is nourished, every cell in your body is nourished, this mind-body interaction is totally different. I've been meditating for years, And since WildFit, since my brain and body has changed with WildFit, my body is no longer in pain. My ability to meditate and observe the stories I tell myself as not truth, not identifying with all of the stuff that goes on, is just so important. And if there's anybody out there who doesn't feel well, who thinks thoughts that are not helpful, I want them to remember that this is not who you are. You don't know anything for sure about what you're thinking and how you're behaving until you've got your nutrition sorted out, until you've got your movement sorted out. And when you're living in a body that is so in tune and so healthy, it will transform your experience of life, and not to ever give up on them. I wouldn't be here if it hadn't been for WildFit. I owed my life. And it was so different to live in this body and mind when it's fully nourished than when I wasn't. I truly can see the stories I tell myself, and I can leave those stories behind, and I don't have to identify with them. And if anything negative comes up, I know that it's something in my body and mind, something I've fed myself that's not working, that my body's objecting to. And this realization is the most precious gift you can give yourself. If there's anybody out there who's struggling, I want them to know that it's possible to reach this stage. It is possible, even if you don't believe it. Don't make a decision until you've completely nourished your body and your mind.
Oh, what a fantastic way to end this interview. Thank you so much, Dr. Deshpande. And I hope you have the opportunity of meeting so many new people from around the world and helping them in their journeys.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for this opportunity. Thank you.